to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this hypnosis session, it's all about anger and harnessing anger. And I actually think that anger is a resource state. It's not something negative. When people talk about anger management, they kind of miss the point. Anger can be very, very useful if someone is violating your boundaries, if they're being rude or disrespectful, if they are putting you or someone that you love in danger. Anger can be quite a natural, healthy reaction in certain situations. The problem with anger is if it gets misplaced, if you're getting angry from a place of certainty rather than as a natural form of protection. So this hypnosis session is about harnessing anger. I filmed this when I was out in Dubai a few weeks ago, and it was recorded not in my studio environment, on my just portable microphone. And I was working with a client that certain things were triggering them. And it was a feeling of a lack of fairness and exploitation. And those were valid emotions. They wanted to feel those emotions, but it was weighing on them. It was getting them all worked up and riled up. And that's when anxiety is no longer useful. So if you can connect to either anxiety that comes from things outside of your control or the anger of unfairness or a lack of justification creates, you might get some value from this session. It was created for an individual. Their situation is probably not your situation. So if you like the idea of something bespoke, there is a way of working with me, and you can find those details in the description for this episode. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be distracted or disturbed. Relax and enjoy the session.
Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation, and as you exhale, just allow any feelings of worry, stress, or tension to feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath, breathing in relaxation and exhaling tension, just allowing each breath to take you deeper and deeper relaxed now. And I want you to scan your body for any clues of tension, stress, the kind of things that cortisol might enhance, like muscle tension. That's it. And as you exhale, just give permission to release, like a release valve, breathing in relaxation, and as you exhale, allowing any stress, any anger, any pressure, any annoyance to just feel like it's leaving your body in that outward breath. That's it. Deeper and deeper relaxed now. In fact, the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you feel. And the more relaxed you feel, the deeper you breathe. Each breath takes you deeper than the last. And as you breathe in and breathe out, just take a moment to settle, to accept. And as you notice your breathing going deeper and longer, there's nothing you need to do, nothing to force. Just allowing each breath to be exactly as it is. You already know that control doesn't begin with effort. Control begins with awareness. And you might begin to imagine or simply sense that you are walking towards a place of immense importance, a place that few people ever truly access. I want you to imagine deep within your own mind a control room, not outside but within you. I want you to imagine standing in front of the door to your own control room. And as I count down from 5 to 1, you will imagine opening the door and walking into your control room, giving you a sense that you are able to see and experience triggers that are normally unconscious. But standing in front of the door, 5, putting your hand on the handle, 4, turning the handle, 3, opening the door, 2, walking through the door, and 1, closing the door behind you. And just imagine being in your own control room. Maybe it's futuristic, maybe mechanical, maybe it looks like an air traffic control center, or perhaps something more functional, mechanical, hydraulic, gauges, switches. But as you explore your own control room, notice this is not chaos and this is not danger. Here within the control room, it's precision. Every dial, dashboard, lever, every system is designed for one purpose: to regulate your power. And I want you to get a sense of just how powerful you are. Your intelligence, your experience, your emotional range, and your capability to do what needs to be done. And as you look around, perhaps somewhere, maybe the center of this control room, perhaps you notice a powerful energy source, a life force, steady, intense, alive. Maybe like a nuclear reactor within you. Not wild, not unpredictable, just powerful. And you may recognize it. Maybe this is that energy that you once called anger. But here, within the holistic confines of your control room, it looks different. Here it is contained, focused, available. Because nuclear power can be used to destroy cities, but they can also power cities. And there was a time when it may have felt that that energy could erupt, spill over, take control. But I wonder if you could look at this energy in a new way. Almost like seeing the truth more clearly. What if it was never the energy? What if it was a lack of systems and structures to harness and direct it? Energy is like money. On its own, it's neutral. And power is not defined by how loudly it explodes, but by how precisely it is used. There's a part deep within you that considers yourself a humanitarian of wonder and joy. And every superhero and every villain has the same origin story. They were wronged. They experienced injustice. The hero harnesses the anger and the injustice to do good, whereas the villain uses it as justification to cause pain to others. And I wonder, which is the stronger force within you? The villain or the humanitarian? The one that wants to destroy or the one that wants to improve? And you only need to look back on your life to know which is the more influential part within you. Your life is evidence of what you value more. But there in the control room, as you observe more closely, notice this energy source is like a reactor, generating immense power, and beside it, control rods, mechanisms of precision, not there to suppress, not there to weaken, but to regulate, to direct, to ensure that power becomes useful. Without control, even the greatest energy is wasted. But with control, with precision, with direction, it becomes unstoppable. And I wonder if you could ask yourself a question. With all of that power, with all of that energy, what do you want to do with it? Maybe deep down you realize something important. You are not the energy. You are the operator of the energy. It is you and only you who decides when to increase intensity and when to stabilize, when to act and when to wait. And what if there's something deeply reassuring about knowing that nothing activates without your decision? And from this moment forward, whenever you get clues of anger, frustration, annoyance, aggression, you know the signals. Consider it a surge, an activation, a feeling, maybe rising up in your chest, your head. What if from now on something new happens? That part within you, the humanitarian, the part that has access to that wonder, that joy, that compassion, what if that part automatically pauses? Not because you have to, but because you can. And in that pause, everything changes. Because now you choose. Energy that you are not in control of is like an unstable reactor. You are not Chernobyl. You are a powerful force of energy, and you can harness that energy to positively impact the world. That when this energy, when directed, sharpens your thinking, clarifies your boundaries, strengthens your voice, not louder, but clearer, not reactive, but deliberate. And you may even begin to enjoy how calm feels powerful. You may have noticed the smallest, weakest dogs bark the loudest. The dogs with real strength, power, real capabilities tend to be calm, observant. And I wonder if you can unleash that power to give you the capability, combined with the discernment to feel that you can use it, but you're choosing not to. Wise people have said, it's better to be the warrior in the garden than the gardener in the war. To have the capability combined with restraint is itself a superpower. And I want you to imagine a situation, perhaps a few days from now, a week from now, where previously you may have felt that desire to seek justice, to set someone straight, see it clearly, see yourself like you're someone else. But this time, see yourself capable yet composed, powerful yet calm, observing, adjusting, choosing. And maybe you notice how different that version of you looks. If you could read your cortisol levels, they would be low. Having the power to not be triggered, again, is a superpower. See how there is no urgency, no loss of control. Calm, measured, precise. And you may even realize this version of you gets even better outcomes with less effort. And if you feel that reactor intensifying its energy, your first thought is not anger, aggression, but deployment. How can you put that energy to use? I want you to think of a forest fire. A forest fire is powerful, lots of energy, but when it's uncontrolled, it destroys. But fire, when it's contained there in the furnace, that turned tribes into civilizations, that built cities, powers engines, creates progress. You are no longer someone who fears the fire. You are someone who uses, harnesses. You empower the fire and the energy. And from this point on, you don't need to suppress this energy because you no longer fear it. You don't need to prove it. You simply use it. Calm becomes your baseline. Control becomes your strength. And intensity, that becomes your furnace, your tool. And I wonder if your unconscious mind is willing to utilize this new perspective. Anger is energy, and energy can be utilized. And if your unconscious is willing to accept, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And then imagine leaving the control room, but just before you leave, notice 2 dials. Pain sensitivity, just dial that all the way down. And optimism and compassion, dial those all the way up. And now it's time to leave the control room, closing the door behind you, and allow yourself to reconnect and recalibrate with your physical body now. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, connect and calibrate into the here and the now as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.